Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, we're going to go back to the days of 1962 and take a look at this issue of Archie's Madhouse, number 22. And this is a significant issue and title. It is a key and is supposedly one of the most sought after issues, at least of this title and probably of Archie's. And I didn't even know I had it. So, but before we get into that, I want to recommend a couple of, well, at least another YouTube channel called Cagelcast. That's Caglecast. Cagelcast, which is actually a podcast, but that's on YouTube. But it's all about featuring about editorial cartoons, featuring the cartoons and talking with the editorial cartoonists, and that's cool. And I also wanted to mention, just because this is an Archie publication that we're looking at here, remind you of the Archie and Me podcast, and you can just Google that and find that podcast. Usually about 30 minutes long, and where they talk about Archie Comics, if you happen to be interested in Archie Comics. And then, word from our sponsor, my comic book, Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, featuring some gags, some humor, and some adventure stuff. And you can get your copy if you haven't got one, if this happens to be your first time watching my channel, on Amazon for $7.99. And I thank everyone who has bought their copy. And I also want to thank all my subscribers. All those who subscribe. Okay. Archie's Madhouse. Okie dokie. So this is Archie's Madhouse, number 22, from 1962. It's a comic title published by Archie Comics from 1959 to 1982. So over the decades, the book went through several changes and overhauls. Initially, for the first 18 issues, it featured the regular Archie gang. And they were featured in offbeat type goofy stories that didn't fit in with their other stuff. Then the title kind of morphed and to become kind of a bit of a copy of the EC's Mad comic version from the early from the 50s, before it became Mad magazine. And in that it featured like monsters, all humor, monsters, spacey stories, and various wacky stories, and parodies. Had parodies of genres and pop culture, and later they introduced the goofy, klutzy superhero Captain Sprocket, and then the band, the Madhouse Glads, arose and had more contemporary social spoofs, and they went through other morphs after that, but it's kind of stayed with that aspect. They had the little blips, dropping into the stories, making goofy little comments and stuff. And now, and I always kind of liked this. I wish they still produced it. I like it. I liked it during this phase. where it was kind of a ripoff of of Mad Comics. Now, as I said, this is kind of goofy stuff they had. Hey, kid, can't you read the sign? You know, robots at the zoo with the humans in the cage. Now, the reason this is a key and a little hint, a little hint right over here, is because I didn't even realize I had this. And I was looking for something else, and then I looked through it, and oh my gosh, I didn't know, because this is the issue. It's a very rough copy. Is the first appearance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Now, I covered Sabrina and her and this particular story before. I've got like 2 or 3 other reprint versions of it. You can see even the inside cover, instead of ads, is content and is goofy stuff. And I covered this, and I mentioned this was done by Dan DeCarlo. She was created by Dan DeCarlo. And just very kind of unusually sexy and seductive here. Now remember, and Sabrina is probably my favorite Archie character. At this time, though, these characters and stuff were not incorporated into the regular Archie universe, and it was only later that Sabrina became associating with Archie and the gang in Riverdale and stuff. And this I wanted to say that Sabrina, it was inspired by the movie Book, Bell, and Candle, about a witch. And initially, when I was a kid, I thought she was a ripoff of Bewitched, Samantha. Well, it turns out she predates Samantha by about 3 years. 3 or 4 years, I can't remember which. And they both are inspired by that movie, including the some of the limitations on the witches and witchcraft and being able to fall in love and crying and all that other stuff, which in the comics they later got rid of. And so it just has some little stuff here about Sabrina, how she can't love, and all this organization. This is just her first appearance. Then we have a couple of little stories of lesson chess. It's little 1-page gag things. And then this one fits in with the spooky stuff because it's a haunted house. And of course, Sabrina, just being a witch, fits in with Spooky October. But then have stuff like this, fake ads. Just funny little pages that imitating some ads with a quirky. In this case, the ads are for monsters and making fun of like teenagers and stuff. Even has a text page about monsters. And then here, this is a cute one. Has a little story about the romances of Marcia the mermaid. How this little mermaid has romance. She's a teenager. Romance problems with the diver there, and he keeps getting the bend, so he breaks up with her. Then this shark, and it's kind of a play on words here with this shark trying to make time with her, and having problems with her daddy. It's kind of like Archie's version of The Little Mermaid. So she goes to the beach and makes friends with some of the beach boys, but she just falls for Max the lifeguard. Ooh, but he's a goofball. He just wants all him, and he only likes her because she is the catch, the greatest catch, and wants to take her to his fishing club to show her as his catch. So she takes off. Then she meets the goofy little diver, Scuba Duba. They have a good, nice romance. They eventually get married, even have little merkids, and set up housekeeping on the beach in a giant goldfish bowl. And it's where they live. And other little things. Sorry, the act about a ventriloquist. It just seems like, what's goofy about a ventriloquist? And he's not necessarily that good till the reporter goes back to interview him and finds out that the dummy is the little guy is the ventriloquist and the big guy is the dummy. And little things here, some more stuff about witches and a witchy gag, and some little spacemen. Have some gags here. Outer space creepy outer space animals, and space shorts. Now, the amazing thing about this one, this particular, at least amazing to me, is in this particular story is remarkably similar to a that I had never seen this. Remarkably similar to a single page gag that I did, which appears in my little book here several years ago. Other little goofy things, and I'm tossing everything around. Snowboy. Now, I wanted to. Funny little silly story, is that here they do have a horror host in this title, and she is known as Witch Hilda, and Witch Hilda is later becomes Sabrina's Aunt Hilda, and it's a fun book. Goofy. See, I told you it's real rough. Falling apart. Happy endings. This little stuff. And it is without as much edge, is very similar to the very early Mad comics. But not as much edge. And not as well done, but it's a lot of fun. And biggest claim to fame, introducing Sabrina, as far as I'm concerned. So that's all I've got for you this time. Just some fun. Madhouse. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe, and do leave a comment. Do you like Sabrina? Do you like Madhouse? Do you like the other stuff? Would you like to see more of these? I wish they still published these things. And remember, comics are art.